Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Shadow War. Yes, it's me, Desmondo, and giving you a quick battle report on a great day's gaming we had yesterday. I was very lucky to have Iain over as usual. Also, Mr. T, he's back. Yes, Mr. T, he's back, and he joined us for a game with Dave Brown. Yes, Dave Brown, the housewife's favourite, and we played GDA 2. A 15mm game set in 1813 between the Prussians and the Wurttemberg 38th Division. Yes, Wurttembergers, old glory figures, and I love them. They are a beautiful set of poses that were created by Old Glory. And they are top notch. The flags are great as well. If you're not interested in the Wurttembergers, go and have a look. Their cavalry are especially wonderful. So, very straightforward game, an encounter game rather than a defend and attack. And we had a total of 3 infantry brigades on the Prussian side with 2 light cavalry brigades attached. The Westphalians, Wurttembergers, my God, the whole of 38th Division, which consisted of 2 infantry brigades at full strength, a light cavalry brigade for their chevalierers and gorgeous things like that, and also a reserve of some small French dragoon units, making up a heavy cavalry brigade. So pretty well even in the fact that if you consider that the Prussian 1813 brigades are partially made up of Landwehr, partially made up of reservists, and then you've got the line infantry. The Wurttembergers were all straightforward line. They were all considered full strength for this game, as it was just really a learning game, and they also had some veteran light units in both the brigades, and that may have been key in what happened throughout the game. But let me tell you how it went. As you can see, there are 2 villages. Both of those villages were worth 1 victory point. There is a hill on the far right, as you look at it from the Wurttembergers' point of view, which is 1 point. And if we scroll slowly over here, you can see another small hill, which was worth 1 victory point. Now, this was an encounter battle, so I was expecting it to be a bit of a dash and see who could get to what. And actually, the way it turned out, because of the way the rules work, the Wurttembergers got to both villages pretty well way ahead of the Prussians, and they grabbed the first hill as well. The second hill was disputed by my light cavalry brigade, and pretty well was disputed through most of the game. You can see I'm still there at the end of the game. I'm light 1 regiment that routed, but I'm still there, but I'm not in great shape. By the way, while we're over here, this is the Wurttemberg cavalry I was talking about. I think some of Old Glory's best figures, to be honest with you, and the units are beautiful. So I was up against Dave Brown on this flank, and he gave me a bit of a spanking, but it was touch and go. I'm still there, as you can see, but I am defending now. I've run out of steam. There's no way I can take this village, even though it's on fire. And Mr. and Mrs. Porky Pig and the moo cows are a bit worried. Well, there'll probably be dinner tonight anyway for the Wurttembergers, but there you go. On this side, Andy T really took on Iain, and Iain and I agreed we would go for a sweeping attack down this flank, and we put 2 of our 3 infantry brigades in an assault that came quite around this side so you can see it. So the idea was that 1 brigade would go to the left of the village and 1 brigade would assault the village. It didn't work out that way because the Wurttembergers put some pressure on us, but Iain went for it on this flank. I'm afraid to say he just couldn't get through. He almost did. Almost. You can see there's 1 unit on the hill, but the rest of the brigade is pretty well spanked, and Andy managed to keep most of his troops intact miraculously. In terms of the village, we never disputed it because Iain's 2nd brigade was pulled into the centre. We genuinely believed we could actually break through that centre, and as you can see, if it wasn't for the cavalry brigade that came up, we probably would have done it, but it was not to be. It was a very close fought game. There was no real feeling of one side dominating the other until literally the last turn, where Iain and I looked at each other and looked at the state of our units and just said, there's no way we're taking either village, we just can't do it. And that way we would only have 1 victory point for that hill, and possibly we could argue for the second hill, but both villages were controlled by the Wurttemburgers. It was a splendid game, I've got to say. I had so much fun. GDA 2 is a far superior beast than GDA 1. It's simplified, it's streamlined, it flows very nicely. A couple of tiny things that Iain and I would tweak, but because we're always tweaking, Iain and I. But it is genuinely a much easier system. It flows very well. You don't really have to refer to the rule book. It always helps having Dave here, but genuinely, we didn't really look up many things just for our own, knowledge. It flowed very, very well, and I think Chris and Dave deserve a lot of credit for what they produced here. And I genuinely think this is a set of rules that you're always worth pursuing and trying to play. And one thing I would say about all this, you should play these games with a sense of gentlemanly conduct, shall I put it. A centimetre here, a centimetre there, really doesn't really matter. And common sense as well. I've seen some of the posts on Facebook. You really just sit back and think to yourself, come on, it's a game, right? It's use your common sense, interpret the rules, make sure that both sides agree, and if neither side agrees, roll a dice, make a decision. These are a great set of rules. Don't get bogged down in minutiae in it. That's not what they're about. These are about producing core level battles, and they do a fine job. This was only division level, but that was great. The other thing I'd also say about any of you guys who are putting on games, give yourself some room to maneuver, okay? We had flanks here and here. There was room enough for people to make decisions and put a weight of force on either side or even down the centre. Too many Napoleonic games, in my opinion, are just line up and packed full of troops. That's no fun. These set of rules also have a great reserve unit rules. I recommend you take that fully on board because reserves become so important now. And again, credit to Dave and Chris for really pushing that idea and making it so important to the core set of rules and the enjoyment of the games. So everybody, big thumbs up from me. This is my second proper GDA 2 game. I was involved a little bit in the old sets, but this is my proper second one, and it was a really great game, and recommend you all get into it. If you're into Napoleonics, of course. And just another quick shot of those wonderful, wonderful Wurttemburgers, the Wurttemberg light cavalry. Probably my second favourite light brigade of cavalry, or cavalry in general, actually. Only beaten by the Saxons, I think. The Saxons' heavy cavalry are stupendously beautiful figures. Take care, everybody. Have a great Father's Day if you're celebrating it. If not, just have a great Sunday. Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.